but also you're into this new coaching field, and now you're doing seminars, you're doing speeches, and you're going places, you're traveling.
Yeah, doing a bunch of things.
Is that my fault?
That's your fault. I'm not going to South Africa, maybe Hawaii.
Yeah, but so again, I guess start where the beginning of the year went from our last meeting.
Yeah, I don't know why, and I was talking to my folks yesterday, and sometimes I've just done things I don't really know why. Like I start writing a blog.
Yep.
I'm going to write a blog. I guess I just have felt like I've always had more to share.
Yeah.
Or like the contracting business is great. I think we can change lives. We can create great spaces for people. I've created a lot of work for a lot of people over the past 18 years, and it's been cool. But there's just something there that doesn't totally fill my cup, and this kind of stuff gets my juices going, helping people. And I was on the phone talking with a guy. I was in a contractor coaching group and as a client for the last year and a half, and like a lot of the guys and girls would reach out to me, maybe because I was older, or maybe because I offered a lot of advice. I just had a lot to say, or again, made a lot of the mistakes. I'd see some young person about to do something crazy, and I'd be like, hey, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yep.
And just pour into that group, not with any agenda,
Yep.
really. There was no like, oh, I'm going to give of myself and it's going to come back to me someday. It was just, I was just doing it, just being involved and working on my sales game and working on leveling out my business. But in that process, like I started working with a mindset coach because I had just some things I wanted to tackle, like, kind of like only felt I was supposed to do so well,
Yep.
And I've talked about that on other podcasts and kind of breaking down these barriers with me personally.
Yeah.
And in that process and talking to guys like you and guys in the group and I used to have a triathlon coaching company, so I'm no stranger to helping people. And I've always been that guy that's like gatherer of people. Like, hey, let's go climb Katahdin, or let's go ride our bikes 120 miles on Saturday. Who's in? And that's kind of how I get into triathlon and the Ironman game. And so I've done a lot of things that take a lot of mental toughness to do. Been in a lot of tough spots, and I'd like to think I could put myself in a really bad spot for a really long time. I'm not a superior athlete, but I've done quite well because I just frankly consider myself tougher than that other guy on race day.
Exactly.
And I'm looking for that guy out there. I'm a trash talking son of a bitch on race day. But that's okay. I like to challenge myself. I like to call my shot. I like to be the guy that's looked to in a situation like, Bob, what are we going to do now? Where do we go from here? What should I do? Doesn't mean I know everything. It just means that I've done a few things and screwed up a lot of shit, And if nothing else, what I bring to the table mostly is life experience. But I also have the ability to articulate that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I also have the ability to do is talk to somebody about tough stuff without making them feel like a piece of shit.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you need to do this, blah, 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 blah. Versus like, hey, what do you think would happen if we did this?
Yep.
Those are two different statements, right?
Exactly.
And so building people up versus tearing them down, I've just enjoyed that,
Yeah.
And so in this whole process of this past year of kind of leveling myself up and recognizing that I just really want to help people.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with one guy. I've told this story where I talked to them for an hour one day about contracting and things he was going to be doing. It wasn't really a coaching session, but I guess it was.
Yep.
And I was alone at my house, and I'm pacing around, talking, strategizing. I'm in the zone, right? And I hung up the phone, and I'm like, that fills my friggin' cup. I said that out loud.
Yep.
There's nobody home,
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I need to pay attention to this,
Exactly.
So January, I started a company called Summit Coaching and Consulting, and just did one video and said, hey, I'm bringing on some clients. I want to work with 3 to 5 people in 2023 who are looking to level up.
Yep.
It's not necessarily business coaching. It's more on the, I hesitate to call it life coaching stuff because I just don't like that. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but like we get on the phone and we talk about, what you're struggling with, whether it's what's personal, business, acts of service, those kinds of things. Like we identify some big rocks that you need to move or that you wouldn't been walking around or can't get around.
Exactly.
I had a call on the way in here this morning with a guy. He said, hey, I know it's not my time, in the week for our call, but do you have 10 minutes to talk through something? Boom, sure.
Yep.
We talked through it. He's like, I'm glad I've called. I'm sorry to bother you. I said, anytime. That's what this relationship is about. It's about you changing who you are in 2023 and leveling up.
Exactly.
And that doesn't always happen in a 1-hour phone call schedule a phone call in a week. But the basic structure is I've brought on several clients. We talk for 1 hour a week on the phone. We've got a focused call. We're not just shooting the shit.
Yep.
We're tackling some things.
Yep.
It does bleed into business at times, but I kind of keep that on the level where I feel like I can contribute. I'm not talking to a guy that's, trying to build a, $75 million digital media empire. That's not me.
Yep.
But I sure as heck can help out a 29-year-old guy that's struggling with whether to hire somebody, cash flow, got a tough conversation to have with a guy that's not showing up every day.
Yep.
Help a lot of people through that. Sales, leads, that kind of thing. Things that I've done and accomplished, and I can speak to that, and I stay out of the weeds on things that, I'm not qualified to talk on, and I'll refer them out.